In October, another memorable moment in gay 1985 was when Phil Donahue was awarded the Arthur Bell Award at the Human Rights Campaign Fund dinner. Gay cable network cameras were there at the awards banquet, which was held here in New York at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
How have you changed on issues relating to gay people? You've done a lot of shows on it over the years. Mm-hmm. Some of our more conservative opponents would say too many. But how have your honest views changed over the years? Really seen them change? And you are receiving an award tonight.
I grew up in a Norman Rockwell neighborhood and was surrounded by church and ballparks and hot dogs. And I did have male friends who wanted to beat up kids who were perceived as different. I could never understand the reason for wanting to aggressively act out on someone like that. I'm not saying that I had any more virtue than anyone else, but somehow the issue of wanting to pummel someone who fell outside of a certain category always bewildered me. I certainly can't claim to have any enlightenment about it, but as I matured and as I had the benefit of talking to some of the most important behavioral scientists and began to appreciate the complexity of, for example, sexuality, the complexity of human behavior generally, I began to see the narrow definitions that we brought to this, that amateurs brought to this. Here's an issue that I think awes behavioral scientists who aren't sure they know all the answers and causes all-night arguments among ignorant people who think they do. And the more I get into it, I think I got a closer look at the indefensible discrimination that was exacted against people simply because of our own ignorance, and I felt life's too short to go through it without saying what you mean, and I'm very fortunate in that I have a program that allows me to showcase these issues, and perhaps the long-term result will be everybody will get their fair share under the Constitution.
In the political arena, 1985 was the year that Virginia Apuzzo resigned her position as director of the National Gay Task Force to become deputy executive director for the Consumer Protection Board of the state of New York. Here's the Gay Cable Network's report of Ms. Apuzzo's resignation.
If you're talking about leadership, then throw out the notion of the easy way out and throw out the notion of safety. I think one of the first things we have to understand that on some level, leadership is not a commitment to the status quo. It's a commitment to move us on, to find another step, to find a new direction, to determine where it is we're going. And so we don't come to leadership with a notion of becoming entrenched. That is not to say we become nihilistic, but it is to say that we have as our objective going someplace, moving somewhere with the group.